My name is Willow, and this is Doug, and we are resident volunteers here, and we're going to welcome you into our center.
Yeah, so last week, Kathy and Heather brought you in, kind of showed you the path into IRC and introduced you to some RVs. This week, what we're going to do is try to talk you through the check-in process. So you've arrived, and what are those first things that you do at IRC? So you've driven up, you found a parking place or someone's dropped you off, and you've got your suitcase. And so let's go in and see what happens. So you'll see there's a set of stairs here. If you can manage that with your suitcase, that's great, but there's also a ramp over there. So you bring your suitcase up the stairs to the front door, and you'll recognize the front door from last week. This is where Kathy took you. So we head into the community room, and here's the community room where you were last week, and this will be where the very first event of the retreat happens. So at some point you'll end up back here. But for right now, we're going to head into the dining room and check in. So bring your suitcase. There may be a line if you need to wait in line. But otherwise, you'll come up here to the check-in stations. The two stations, two parts of the process. And Heather is here to do the first part. So she'll talk about the first part.
Hi, everyone. Yes, this is the first seat in the registration process. And at this point, I would give you a half green sheet that would have the nuts and bolts of your room number, your work meditation assignment, your Sangha service. And at this point, I'd give you a Sangha service card. And the beauty of Sangha service is it's a time in the schedule when everyone in the retreat gets to take care of the center together. Welcome.
And so then you'll finish with Heather and go to the next station, which you'll need.
Hi everyone. So at the second station, you will sign up for bell ringing. Bell ringing is a lovely thing. And if you don't know about it, wait for next episode. And then I'll give you a work meditation card. Work meditation is normally 45 minutes. Sometimes cleaning the floor, sometimes washing dishes. Lovely. And welcome again.
So great, now you're checked in. So the next thing you want to do is you've got the green card that Heather gave you. And on that card is your room number. So now you need to find your room number. We have a series of rooms downstairs and a series of rooms upstairs. We'll take a look at one of the downstairs rooms. The downstairs rooms are set up as suites. So it means there's two rooms and a bath. The upstairs rooms are just singles with a large. So let's head down the hall here towards 103B. We're going to take a look at 103B. As we're walking down here, we're going to pass the stairway that leads up to the meditation hall. And here's your room. So the rooms are very simple and straightforward, but hopefully have all the amenities that you need. A simple bed. Now's a good time to make your bed. We hope that you've brought your own linens. That's very helpful to us if we don't have to wash everybody's linens at the end. But if for whatever reason you've forgotten or you've traveled and you couldn't bring linens, we do have a spare set of supply if you need it. But so now's the time, make your bed. You can set up your clothes over in this area on hangers. There's a bedside table if you have various sundries you want to put in there. So get settled, enjoy your room. You're going to be spending the next week here. But once that's happened, then you can go in and get set into the bathroom. Again, bathroom, simple, straightforward, but hopefully everything you need. As you pass by your neighbor's room, you may want to say hi to your neighbor. So we won't be in silence until about 7:30. So this is a chance to talk to your neighbor who you won't be able to talk to for the next week. Check in, introduce yourself, say hi. After that, so it's hard to know exactly when you've arrived, but let's assume that you've arrived about an hour early. That's oftentimes what we do. So now you can take some time to get used to the meditation, to the retreat center. You can go up and take a look at the meditation hall. You can settle in down here. I mean, what you'll find is that a lot of people are coming in right doing what you do. So you can introduce yourself, you can talk to other people, you can just, walk around the grounds, get a feel. One thing for sure that's useful is to take a look at the schedule. So the schedule will be posted up here. You'll see a schedule for today. So today's schedule is pretty short and straightforward. One thing to point out about today is that we've added a community time. So we'll do some Zoom breakout rooms. And if you want to be included in that, you'll want to fill out this form. So this should be on your YouTube explanation, introduction. So you can go fill out this form if you want to be involved in a breakout room. So what else? Let's take a look around at some other things. There's a note board over here. So during the retreat, once you're in silence, you need a way to communicate. And this note board is our means of communication. So right now, you don't need that, right? Right now, we're still talking. But once we're in silence, if you need to communicate with a manager, with a teacher, not other yogis, but teachers and managers, you can take one of these pieces of scratch paper and write a quick note. Make sure you sign your note. Signing is very important because otherwise nobody knows who it's from. And then you address the note and put it up here. So whoever it is who you've addressed it to will read it, they'll reply, they'll leave you a reply here. So that's kind of the rhythm. The rhythm of the retreat is notes back and forth, if necessary. I mean, if not necessary, just enjoy the silence. Settle into the retreat. So one last thing. Let me just show you one more thing, and then I'll turn you over to Nikki. One thing that's useful as you're settling in and you're sort of taking stock of what you brought, you might have forgotten something. Who knows? Toothpaste, toothbrush, who knows? So we have this yogi needs closet, which has a whole group of things that you might need during the retreat and you might have forgotten. So you'll see kind of basic medicines, toothbrushes, razors, Band-Aids, a whole slew of things. So you should definitely feel free to come in, help yourself. This is on offer to anybody who needs something like this, who got it, or just the need comes up during the retreat. All right, so that is your introduction to check-in. Next week, we'll have more RV introductions. We'll do other aspects of the retreat center, but for now, that's where I'm going to leave it. So we're going to transition over to the online retreat that's happening today. And Nikki Mirghafori will be teaching. And Nikki, are you out there? I'm going to turn it over to you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Doug. Sweet. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever your time zone might be. Welcome, everyone, and thank you. IRC, RVs, resident volunteers. I just feel happy this morning seeing your faces and feeling welcomed to IRC. My body actually feels like it's home. There's something about IRC as Gil was saying during the retreat last week, during this mini retreat, that so many people have practiced hundreds and thousands of hours at IRC now in silence, sitting and walking and cultivating goodness, cultivating calm, cultivating peace. That there is a sense of home, stability, groundedness, just entering. And for me, it's lovely to see that that sense is palpable even through the video, the two-dimensional pixels that we see, but there's the same way that we can connect with people quite intimately using Zoom, also on YouTube, the two-dimensional pixels. There's a sense of being invited. And I also really appreciate, I want to make that part of the theme of our mini retreats together. The theme of feeling welcomed, feeling welcomed, feeling held, feeling welcomed in your body, feeling held in this home that is your body. And the same way that a turtle carries its shell everywhere, its home everywhere, for us to have the sense of feeling welcomed, feeling held, sense of being welcomed. So that's one thing that I'll bring in today into our meditation, into our sitting meditation. So for the first part of today's retreat, as you've seen the schedule, there will be a guided meditation that I'll guide us into for us to settle and arrive and practice and introduce the theme. And that's for 30 minutes. And at 10:30, we'll transition into walking meditation, and I'll give some light guidance about that. So with this welcoming, I invite you to welcome yourself into your body and see if you need to move. If you need to move in order to be comfortable, you need to move from the chair to a cushion, vice versa. Or maybe move your body, maybe left and right to find the center of your gravity. To find a way that you can sit. You can sit comfortably. A sense of ease. And landing in your body, welcoming yourself. As if you are welcoming a dear guest, a beloved guest into your home. Welcoming yourself with the same sense of care. Perhaps with the sense of care we just received from the RVs this morning, welcoming us into the space. Welcome. Welcome, land, your home. Leave your suitcase here. Here's a friendly neighbor, welcoming yourself. Both into this body and into the space you're in, wherever you are, sheltering in place right now. Welcoming yourself. Landing in this body. This home that we carry with ourselves. Inviting the body to relax, to soften. This welcoming space can be gentle and tender. And supportive and supported. Inviting your feet as they touch the earth. Inviting them to soften and relax. Giving up their weight. Landing. Inviting your legs, lower legs, your knees, your upper legs. To give up their weight. Land. Give up any tension or tightness there might be. Inviting your sit bones, your bottom. To feel the contact points with the cushion, the earth. And for it to give up any tension for this area of your body, to give up any tension or holding. And just land, arrive, fully arrive in this moment. Inviting your lower abdomen to soften, to offer up any holding or tension. To relax your lower back. The upper abdomen. The chest, the upper back, the whole trunk. Landing, softening. Letting any tightness or tension flow down, be offered up to the earth. Now bringing attention to your neck and shoulders. Inviting them to relax, soften. Put down the weight that we often carry. You're home. You're taking time for refuge. So putting down the weights, if possible, as much as possible. And inviting your neck and shoulders to relax, soften. As well as your arms, your upper arms and lower arms, and hands. The hands, the arms, they do so much. Inviting them to relax. They don't have to do anything right now. They can soften. And rest. Rest, being held in kindness. In appreciation. Inviting now your head, your face. Starting with your forehead. To soften, to let go of any tightness or tension there may be. Inviting the eyes to rest in their socket. Opening up from the back, just resting. Maybe feeling your forehead open up. Not so tight anymore. Your eyes relaxing while they're closed. As if there was opening up behind the eyes, in the back of the eyes. They're resting. They're relaxing. Letting your cheeks relax and soften, and your jaw. Maybe even allowing your mouth to open a few inches. Just to feel what it's like. And then maybe the jaw naturally settles into a place of no tension. Letting your chin, your tongue also soften. And inviting the proverbial thinking muscle. Inviting that to soften and relax. It's okay. You're home. You can relax, soften. Take some time for refuge, for healing. For rejuvenation, regeneration in the presence of awareness, the presence of loving awareness, calming, soothing, grounding, regenerative. Welcoming the entire body. All parts and as a whole. In a relaxed state, welcoming the breath. Letting the body be breathed. Letting every cell of this body feel nurtured. And touched by the breath. Allowing, inviting each and every breath to be infused with a sense of welcoming kindness. As it fills every nook and cranny of this body. Noticing with your kind awareness, loving awareness, perhaps your toes, maybe feeling breath filling out, touching areas in your toes. Sense of aliveness, presence. Or your sit bones, different areas where your bottom touches the cushion or the chair. Filling out as if you were a pop-up doll, getting more full. The same way that air fills up a pop-up doll, you become more filled with sense of awareness, loving awareness. Filling out the nooks and crannies of this body. Sitting upright with more integrity, not because you're trying, not because you're efforting, but because you get more filled. This body becomes more filled with awareness and expands. In its posture, sitting upright with dignity and awareness. And as thoughts and memories, emotions arise, invite them to be held in the spaciousness of this loving awareness. Both spacious, enough room for everything to be just as it is. Thoughts and emotions, memories and plans. And also a sense of expansive groundedness, ease, groundedness of this body. So now we will transition on this mini retreat to walking meditation. And I will share some light guidance for today's practice with walking. My invitation is to explore the same theme of loving awareness and a sense of welcoming home. So as you walk in a small area, walking back and forth, maybe 10 steps, 20 steps, say 10 steps, or maybe even less, walking back and forth. Allow your pace, first of all, to be one that is nurturing. Whatever is nurturing for you. Maybe a slow pace is nurturing this morning. Maybe a regular pace is nurturing. You be the judge. For most people to start, it's nice to start a little slower, but not robotically slow. See what works well for you. And as you walk in this area, it's 5-10 steps back and forth, the invitation is to bring your attention, bring your awareness, your caring, loving awareness to your feet, to the bottom of your feet. And as your feet touch the ground, with every step, feeling home, welcoming yourself home with each step. And you can try welcoming yourself home to this body. That could be the idea. Home, I am home, I am home, I am home in this body, I am home. Or it could be home in the world, home. You could also take this concept, if it works for you, feel free to experiment the other way around. As Thich Nhat Hanh says in his guidance for walking meditation, walk as if with each step, your feet are kissing the earth. Your feet are kissing the earth. So there's a sense of appreciation. There's a sense of love that you are giving your home, this earth, your loving home, your loving home. So see what works for you. There could be, when we do this practice, at some point there is no giving or receiving in the love, in the appreciation. We both love the earth, kiss the earth with each and every step, our home. And we feel this sense of home, being supported, being loved and supported. Home. So I invite you to explore that. And a bell will be rung by the RVs at 10 minutes to 3 minutes before 10 minutes to 11. So it would be 13 minutes before 11 Pacific time. And we'll gather back in the meditation hall for another sit. Thank you. as we return, from walking to a sitting posture, landing again, arriving fully in this moment, arriving in this moment, in this body. Every moment a new arrival. A new arrival at home. Home, our bodies, our lives. This moment of being human. Can we feel at home? With the breath, with the body, with the experience, whatever experience might be arising in this moment. Even if they are a crowd of sorrows, these visitors. Can we feel that the sense of home is spacious enough that all visitors of the mind, the body, the heart could be welcomed without being turned away, because there is enough stability, spaciousness. Enough stability, feeling the body connected, rooted. Enough spaciousness as loving awareness. Imbues the breath, moving through. Even if judgments are arising, oh, I can't do this, my mind is scattered, or whatever else might be coming up. Inviting awareness. The knowing of these judgments to be a kind, welcoming, hello, hi. Unmoved, like a gracious host, stable. Simply knowing, yes, this is the visitor that's visiting right now. And letting the sense of stability come from the connection to the body, to the breath. And welcoming yourself. Sense of kindness. And welcoming. Connection to the breath and the body. And if you find yourself in the midst of thoughts or plans or stories, it might be helpful to just say home, home. And if the visitors are too incessant and want to take you away on adventure rides, maybe putting your hand on your heart center, middle of your chest, connecting with your home, with yourself. Home, home. besides invoking the word home or I am home to support bringing yourself, connecting the present moment awareness in a welcoming way. In addition to this, something else is available to you today. If you find yourself lost in thoughts, it is okay to just open your eyes for a moment and imagine you are sitting in the meditation hall at IRC in this beautiful, calm, welcoming space. See how that might invite your body to relax, to feel safe, to let go, to rest, to arrive more fully. And feeling nourished by evoking the sense of being welcomed. In this beautiful practice temple, feeling at home in your own heart and mind and body. for the last moments of this sitting period, holding yourself with kindness and appreciation, no matter what arose or did not arise during this practice period. You sat, you walked, you tried, without attachment to outcome, appreciating your wholesome intentions, and as best you were able to, aligning your actions with them. It's been lovely sitting together this morning, sitting and practicing together. I've really enjoyed the sense of community. Having this mini retreat at IRC. It's given me a lot of joy. As you all know, these are new series which started last week with the first one, inaugural one, this being the second one. And there's such a sweetness about teaching at IRC this way. And in fact, I just finished actually about a week ago, was it? Maybe finished teaching a 4-day silent retreat, online retreat, again, quote, at IRC. Just very sweet to feel feel a sense of welcoming, feel a sense of presence that wherever we are in the world, sheltering in place at this time, that we're still together and there's a sense of connection to this beautiful, welcoming place, space, this temple that is inside Retreat Center. So I'll say a few words in the way of a Dharmette this morning and then open it up for questions and reflections. So what I wanted to share in terms of the reflections for a Dharmette was about the theme that we explored together this morning. The feeling of welcoming ourselves to a sense of home, which really is a way of safety, really invoking a sense of safety, welcoming, kindness. And in a way, it's bringing the practice of metta, M-E-T-T-A, or loving kindness and care, imbuing the practice of insight, which is paying attention with awareness in every moment, imbuing the awareness with a sense of kindness over the many years, and also the people whom I have led and supported and mentored, that actually for many people, their practice really took off and really started to become alive when they changed their perspective from one of should, must, accomplish, pay attention, whip, pay attention, must do, sense of efforting, over-efforting. When there was a transition from that perspective of over-efforting to doing the practice, but transitioning to a perspective of kindness, welcoming themselves, holding themselves with care, with metta, while they were doing the insight practice, vipassana practice, mindfulness practice, called with many different names, but I won't get into the distinctions right now. But so when they actually started to really hold themselves with a sense and care, Still there was engagement. I don't so much like the word effort. It kind of brings up a sense of tightness already, but there was a sense of for not only do they not become couch potatoes and forget about their practice, quite the opposite. They actually become alive. I know examples of folks who were just feeling beleaguered, like, oh, I'm supposed to sit again. I don't really feel like it. And when transitioning to a sense of bringing this sense of care and welcoming and metta with friendliness into their practice of insight, there was a sense of ease that came in, and actually they became really energized and engaged, and they actually started to sit even more longer or more dedicated to their practice. Their practice became the part of their life. And really what I've seen over and over is this gentleness, the kindness, imbuing a sense of ease and welcoming ourselves in our experience, in our heart, is really the fastest way. So I've come up with this expression that the gentle way is the fastest way in this practice. It's not the, okay, grin and bear it and plow through, but the sense of gentleness and care really makes things flow with a lot more ease, makes the practice come alive. And in the practice of imbuing loving kindness, imbuing vipassana insight with loving kindness, one aspect of metta or loving kindness, if you are familiar with the phrases, the four classic phrases, may you be safe from inner and outer harm is the first one. May you be happy and have joy in your heart, my version. May you be healthy and strong. And the fourth one, may you have ease. So the first one, the first and foremost one, when I started my practice, I was a little confused. Why safety? Why have that as the first statement of metta? And the sense of safety, sense of being home, which is what I was inviting us to invoke today in this practice today. That first one, through intense practice, in fact, once I sat a month long, and for that month I practiced metta, and it really became clear for me. I really grokked it that safety needs to be first. If there isn't a sense of safety, a sense of comfort, ease in our body, in our hearts and our mind, a sense of belonging, a sense of safety, nothing else goes. There can't be a sense of happiness and health and ease. It all starts with safety. And safety really shows up in a sense of welcoming yourself, feeling welcome, feeling home, and the idea of evoking the idea of home for most people, and it is a sense of where you feel safe, where you feel calm, and also to acknowledge that if for some people, if that metaphor, if a home, for example, your childhood home has not felt a place of safety, then the invitation is to find another, conjure up another image, another place of safety in your heart, whether it's IRC as the place of safety and ease and feeling welcomed by the RVs, to conjure that up in order to feel a sense of welcoming and belonging and safety. Or for some people, there are various places. Maybe your grandmother's home brought a sense of safety for you. Maybe for you, a sense of safety or feeling being at home, it comes not from a sense of place, but a sense of just being comfortable in your own skin, a sense of comfortable in this body, comfortable in the world, comfortable being who you are, or the universal sense of belonging. And I appreciate this image of the Buddha, many of the images of the Buddha, as you see, and he has a hand on the earth, the earth mudra, it's called, as earth be my witness, I belong here. As earth is my witness, I belong here. So a sense of belonging, safety, I belong here. This is home. This is home. This body is home. This earth is home. I am home. So declaring, and that's another thing I'm recommending. So for you to just bring up a sense the same way as the Buddha touched the earth. As earth be my witness. I belong here. I have the right to be here. So a sense of home wherever you are, touching the ground wherever you are, claiming that this is home. This is your home as a human being. You belong here. This is your home. And so a sense of safety, a sense of being home is really tantamount and really important in what I've seen for not just practice, but so many ways of human flourishing to really flow. And in that way, I also want to bring in for us as practitioners, as we both cultivate a sense of belonging, a sense of home, a sense of safety for ourselves, as a part of our practice, both the benefit of ourselves, to benefit ourselves and others, to offer the sense of care, safety, home, belonging to others. Especially with all that is going on in our country right now and the world, but especially this country, to really make it our practice also as our practice in the world. What are the ways that we can offer safety? We can offer welcoming. We can offer a sense of home to everyone, regardless of their race, regardless of their color, regardless of their background, gender identity, however they show up. How can we offer safety? Because there is no separation. There is no us and them. There is no such a thing. It is all us. We are all humanity, and we have the person that you are. You haven't had choice. You were not given a catalog. Okay, I want to be born to this family. I want to be born in this country, in this color. None of us have had choice. And fundamentally, each of us could have been born as each other. It's all so random. It's all so random. So as we come across other people, regardless of what and who they are, offering a sense of kindness and ease and safety as best we're able to as a part of our practice. So I'd like to transition now to opening up the space for your reflections, for your questions, and the way this is designed to work, and we're experimenting, all of us. The way this is designed to work is that you are invited to please type your questions or reflections in the chat box in YouTube. And there's a little bit of a delay, so we will see how all of that will work this morning. And by the time I say it, I think it might take about 30 seconds or so until what I say shows up on YouTube, and then a little more time. But it will all work in a magical way. So if you have reflections or if you have questions about the practice, again, you're invited to type in the chat box in YouTube. And what we will do after taking a few questions and reflections, we will transition to the breakout rooms, and you are welcome to sign up for them. The way you sign up for them is on the narrative content below the video. Yeah, so one question that has just come through is, how do we use the Dharma to find our own personal feeling of safety? That's an excellent question. So for that, for feeling our own person in the Dharma, how to really utilize the teachings in the Dharma, I suggest practicing metta, loving kindness for yourself, and taking on, if you're familiar with, well, whether or not you're familiar, I invite you to some resources. So the practice of metta, metta, which is loving kindness, translated from Pali, often translated as kindness, loving kindness, or kindness, friendliness, goodwill. Practice of goodwill towards yourself. And towards that practice is what I have found, what I've seen people little by little find. Phrase, actually, this is a great opportunity to say, which is, may I be safe from inner and outer harm. So the outer harm, we can understand. The outer harm, fire and I don't know, various things that can happen externally. But internally, may I be safe from internal harm? Oh, that's interesting. So when I was practicing again intensely, it became clear to me that the way I'm most often harmed is not by daggers and poisons and fire externally. That doesn't usually happen on a daily basis. Now and then things might happen, but it's rather rare to be hit by a truck or be in an accident. The way that I realized I get harmed every single day is by myself, is internally, through my internal thoughts, internal judgments, mind states, emotions. So, wow, what a wake-up call, that really offering safety to myself, from myself. And in fact, it brings up another thing, you might have seen many Buddhists wear these protection bracelets, which are basically just a red cord. And I remember often Jack Kornfield has been asked, these protection bracelets, who is this bracelet is supposed to protect us against? And he laughs and says, well, ourselves, of course. So protecting yourself from yourself, offering safety in your own heart and mind. Because when there is this sense of friendliness within, friendliness with yourself, and so many of us don't have a sense of friendliness with ourselves. Either we're outright unfriendly with ourselves, nasty, or even if we're friendly, there are times when, there could be pretty bad, difficult, judgmental mind arising, or are other states that perhaps we're not handling well. Or there could be the case of the second arrow, which is another teaching by the Buddha, that the first arrow is what life gives you. These are the first arrow you get hit by. Life throws arrows at you. You lose your job, you have challenges in your relationship. The second arrow, second and third and fourth arrows are what we do with that first arrow, how we internally handle the first arrow. Do we handle them with kindness and ease towards ourselves and others? Or do we do we actually add more fuel to the fire and not offer ourselves kindness? So coming back to the pith of the question, so my recommendation is practicing metta for yourself, loving kindness, care, and compassion for yourself as a way to find safety, to find home, a sense of ease, home in your own heart, so that when arrows of life come, at least you're not adding second arrows internally. So internally, there's a feeling of safety. So Phil asks, is the metta you're suggesting we bring into meditation related to the joy factor of awakening? Not exactly, no. So the joy factor in in the 7 factors of awakening is actually, technically speaking, different from metta. They can be related, but they're different. So metta in Pali is the loving kindness. The joy factor in the 7 factors of awakening, 7 factors of awakening in Pali, Bojjhanga, for those who like the Palis also, is actually, that factor is piti, P-I-T-I, piti. So the factor of piti is translated both as joy, it's also translated as rapture. And that factor of awakening, there's a sense of interest, engagement. It's also translated as interest or engagement, some sense of bubbliness when you're really taking delight and joy. You're engaged in what you're working on and doing, and that feels very different experientially than metta. So if you practice metta, for example, as a samatha practice, piti will arise. So if you practice metta as a concentration practice, for example, if you really get into practicing metta for yourself or for others, any practice of metta, you can really get into it, and there's a sense of joy arises of, interest, zeal, and happiness from engagement in this practice. And physically, you become alive. You become alive in your mind when you're practicing. But the 2 words, the 2 concepts are different. Piti, joy, in the 7 factors of awakening, is different from metta, loving kindness, goodwill. Again, they can become related, as many of the feelings and emotions and factors in the mind can become related, but they are not the same. I hope that answers your question, Phil, and it's clear enough. Yeah. And Fred offers, reflecting on the refuges, I go to the safe house of the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Yes, I'm so glad you bring that in. Beautiful. Especially because really the idea of safety, this idea that I'm suggesting with metta and connecting it also is connected with the refuges. So I'm so glad you brought that up, Fred. Thank you. In the way that when we take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, there are, let's just stay with the Buddha actually for now. There are different ways, different wise ways to interpret the idea of taking refuge. So one way to consider taking refuge in the Buddha is to take refuge in the historic Buddha, this human being who lived, who existed, who was just like us, and breathed and was born of a mother, wasn't celestial, and wow, this human being just like me. This human being woke up and became awakened. So taking refuge in that possibility, that's one way to consider it. As well as, I suggest other ways to consider it. The other way is to take refuge in the Buddha-ness within you, in that possibility that human being explored and woke up. That possibility also exists in you. That in the divinity that is in you, taking refuge in the Buddha within, in the possibility of waking up within, that each and every one of us has, no matter what. So taking sense of refuge and safety in the dimensionality, in the unfathomability that is you, that is who you are. Deep, which is above and beyond how you perceive yourself to be. So earlier on, actually, as when I was talking in the Dharmette about some people find a sense of safety, not in a place or location, but in their own humanity in the world. That's what I was referring to, but I shied away from exploring it further. So Fred's reflection really supports the bringing that idea back. So taking refuge in the beauty, in the grace, in the divinity that is this being, that is you, which is above and beyond your own understanding. We don't quite understand the depth and beauty and purpose of this being that is us. So bowing to that, really trusting and taking refuge in that Buddha nature and the Buddha within is another way to really consider the idea, the reflection of taking refuge. And of course, there is taking refuge in the Dharma and in the Sangha. And again, it could be interpreted as the Dharma as the teachings of the Buddha with capital D. And it can be interpreted at the same time, I'm not saying or actually, and together, as interpreted as taking refuge in Dharma with small d, the way things are, the way things unfold, the lawfulness of this world, of the mystery of the universe that again is unfathomable. It's the dimensionality is beyond our understanding, but can be trusted. The goodness of it can be trusted. So the sense of refuge in the unfolding of the laws of the universe. And the last, in terms of Sangha, taking refuge in the Sangha, safety of the Sangha, again, it could be interpreted as the many practitioners throughout the ages, the monastics specifically, it could be interpreted, or it could be interpreted as the Sangha, as the beings who support us, as the Sangha here and now, all the beings, both in time and in space. And here we are. This is an example of Sangha right here. Wherever you are at home, whatever state or even country you might be in right now, we are a Sangha supporting ourselves together with the RVs at IRC. And also you can consider your family, your Sangha, people who support you, who care about you, people who support you in seen and unseen ways as your Sangha and as all of humanity. Again, that's the other dimensionality, to take refuge in this unfathomable dimensions of humanity above and beyond what we perceive it to be on the ordinary level. So I thank you all for practicing together this morning. It's really been a delight to practice in community. And this would be the perfect time for those of you who would like to join us, in small groups to have conversations, to connect, to discuss. You're invited to come and meet each other, get to know who are these practitioners, to come and meet the Sangha. This Sangha we're talking about, come and meet the Sangha. You're going to receive a Zoom link immediately, great, and you can join. So I will take a moment by saying my thank yous to, again, every single one of you. While you go through the, going through the form, getting the link and all that, I'll take a moment again to thank first all the RVs for having welcomed us into their home. This is their home. They live at IRC and they take care of IRC. So thank you all for welcoming us beautifully into your home this morning. and really giving us a sense that we are practicing in this beautiful, lovely space with you. And yeah, and thanks to all of you who have practiced together and supported each other this morning by showing up, by practicing for yourself and for all beings everywhere. We don't do this practice just for ourselves. We do it for all beings everywhere. May all beings be happy. May all beings be free. May all beings feel safe and at home. Thank you all. So please join us. And I'm going to hand it over now to Lish. And Lish, great. And Lish is going to set up. Yeah, Lish is going to take it away. Take it away, Lish. Take good care.
Thank you, Nikki. And thank you to all of us, all the folks who joined us today for coming into our home and joining us in this practice. We'll be doing this every Wednesday and at the same time. And you're welcome to come every Wednesday where we can all practice together, being home together. And we're just going to wait a few moments for folks to sign up if they want to be in the community time, or we'll be in small groups.